Questions for DeAndre?
DeAndre, Coach White was just talking about you've had good first halves, good second halves. He still needs that whole complete game from the defense. What's key to doing that?
Just being consistent and just, staying the course. Not thinking about – you can't be thinking about anything but, like, what's happening right now. Like, sometimes guys drift. And I mean, I've done it in my career, thinking about what I'm doing after the game. But you got to stay with the game plan, and you got to stay with, like, the core beliefs of what the team is. And, teams they're going to make plays. But if we stay true to ourselves and just keep straining, just keep playing ball and just keep hustling, good things will happen.
What can you take from last year's game against Mississippi State into this game maybe learn from?
Just being like, we was away at Mississippi State. I don't know if you guys have been there. It's not a fun atmosphere to play in, but just being like more excited to play. Not that we're not excited, but just bringing the passion and just being ready to, like, we missed a lot of tackles that game, and just ready to tackle. With that team, you can't let up. You can't let a catch behind the line of scrimmage go for 7 yards on first down, and you'll be behind for the whole drive. So we got to make tackles and just be physical and know what's coming.
Those missed tackles are uncharacteristic for you guys. Do you attribute it to anything? Is it lack of energy, trying to do too much?
I think playing defense my whole life. The times when I miss tackles, I don't think it's like a lack of technique. I mean, like, you can lose it, but I think it's more a mental thing. Like, if you're not, like I said, if you're not in it, or if you're just thinking about too much, you're not thinking about the right technique. I mean, you can practice it so much that it just becomes second nature, but when open field tackling is probably the hardest thing to do. So if you're not focused on what's right in front of you, or like anything, like, that's how you miss tackles. Poor technique and
I've seen those young guys filling in for Jack West the last 2 weeks. How have they been?
They're pretty good. I look at them like veterans. I mean, they're not young guys to me. So they do pretty good. I mean, they listen, they learn, and I mean, I feel like they've been here before. They played enough, practiced enough.
Sorry, those guys have done a good job. But do you feel like you guys have missed Jack West's presence out there, just from a leadership standpoint?
Of course, that's my buddy for the year, my mate. So yeah, I mean, like, we miss his presence. He's another vocal leader, that we're missing out on. Guy that loves football, it's just last year. So, I mean, obviously, like, we miss him, and, he makes plays all the time. So whenever you can add a playmaker to your defense, you will always want it.
An offense like Mississippi State's, when they throw the ball so much, they've run it more this year than they have in the past. But what kind of pressure does that put on linebackers like yourself? You mentioned tackling, but are there other things where it puts stress on the linebacker?
Just knowing your landmarks, getting in your drops, keeping your feet set so you can play and break. That's really the biggest thing with this team. You look back to 2020, we played really good. I mean, I watched that game like 2 times already. I mean, everybody's in their drops, just waiting, and knowing what's coming. So that's a big part at linebacker for the 2 inside and outside.
When you have 2 performances that were as different the last 2 times you played them, do you prefer to watch the good one and learn from that, or to watch the bad one and take notes from what you all did wrong?
I don't really have a preference. I watch both of them enough, because I mean, like, when you had a good game, it's 2 years ago. Sometimes you forget the good things that you did, but you're so. I'm the type of person, like, when I mess up, I like to look at the bad things. So I watch the game and I look at, we could have this, we could have that, but the year before we did that already. So I just, try to take both of them and, out there and practicing, harp on it, like, make sure everybody's running to the ball, feet set, playing and breaking, and making plays on the ball. Because there's plays to be made. The ball's in the air. You'll get it.
Did you see any difference in the way they attacked you last season compared to that 2020 game, or did they just do what they do better?
Nah, it seemed like they were more efficient last year. It seemed like because 2020 is like, it's kind of new. Last year is a year into it. But they hit us with, certain plays that we really didn't see last year. They emphasized some plays. So, we're looking for that again this year.
Talking about Will being a leader, I mean, you're definitely a leader. How do you gauge the mood of the team right now, coming off that South Carolina game, going into Saturday?
Still in it, like, energetic. Guys are still excited. They definitely still want to play ball. There's no guys that's just out there like, I wish this would be over. Like, we still invested into this season, because the season's not about, just the game. It's about all the work you put in during the summer and the spring. So, I remind them guys that, and that always lights a fire. So right now, we're ready.
DeAndre, how much have you followed what Coach Summerall's doing at Troy? Do you keep track of that and see he's got it kind of turned around there already?
I do keep track of it. He's a funny dude. It's like, you know, like the Linebacker group, I feel like it's one of the funniest groups on the team. You probably won't know that because you always see it serious, but we always playing around. And Summerall, he'd get mad at us. So, he was always acting serious. We used to just, mock him. So, just seeing him, he's the head coach, you got to be serious. So, it's funny to me, to see him in that. But I'm happy, you know. It's not it's like a cheerful funny. But, I see him on Twitter, you know, the Rat Boys and stuff, the stuff he's posting. It's funny. I laugh at it.